Call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Carla here.
Karen here.
Kathy here.
John here.
Jerry is absent. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Carla, aye.
Karen, I.
Kathy, aye.
John here.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it. Carla, aye.
Karen, I.
Kathy, aye.
John here.
Okay. Administration, a resolution accepting the water main and sanitary sewer in Royal Oaks East Sub 6th edition.
This is that Gary Miller just put in some water and sewer, and this is one of the things that kind of slipped through the cracks last year with the whole everything that had happened. But Dean felt that it was in satisfactorily and that the council could accept that infrastructure.
Then I'll make a motion to approve the resolution 2019-10.
9. 9? 10? I'm sorry.
Resolution accepting the water main and sanitary sewer in Royal Oaks East 6th edition.
I'll second. Carla, aye.
Karen, I.
Kathy, aye.
John here.
Okay, Peosta Code of Ordinances, draft. Did you just read all of them?
Working on it.
If you want to table it,
Yeah.
you could.
I think we should discuss it.
Yeah, I mean, Karen and I both reviewed the document. It takes the old code and it just integrates every ordinance you've passed plus every required change made by the Iowa legislature. So you don't really have any choice on that part anyway, so. And again, our ordinances were passed. They do, yeah, I mean, you'll see it a lot of times it's noted that the ECIA model ordinance is, utilized. This is actually, there's two kinds of formats city codes take. This is a little bit of the format. This format is, I don't know how to, it's like the junior high version basically. But for now, I think Karen and I both decided this was best to just get it done because we were after 5 years, we needed to do it. We may look at transitioning the code into what is more the generally accepted code, which if you saw a page out of it, you'd probably recognize it more. It's what most other city codes look like. But other than, I mean, there were a few typos and some things. I mean, anything that we would want to change in here anyway would have to be changed by ordinance process. So you're more just reviewing for consistency or.
I take it everything in red is what was added in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a question about the number and term of the city council in that one. In conformance with the 2003 general, it's 2-1-5. I'm confused as to, the council members will serve 4-year staggered terms. At the November 2005 election, the 3 highest vote getters will be elected to the 4-year term and the next 2 elected for a 2-year term. But are we all just elected for the 4-year term?
You are now, yes.
Okay.
That was just like that initial.
Okay.
To get it set up on the rotation.
Did we used to have an ordinance about certain types of dogs, and then because of that guy, what happened?
We did have a ban on pit bulls.
Yes.
And any breed, like,
Terrier, some kind of
those
terrier.
type, any American, whatever, there's a lot of ones. And stuff, yeah. And so anyway, when we lost that lawsuit with the pit bull, and many other cities too were going more towards not a dangerous breed, but more of dangerous animals. So if an animal is deemed dangerous, and we did have one last year, those people have moved out of town, but then we notified that they were on notice of a dangerous animal.
Dangerous animal was a pit bull?
No, it was not a pit bull. It was a mixed breed. It was a large dog. And there were issues with the line being too long where it was getting out toward the street area, and it broke it. It was too small of a collar that it was using. It broke it and went after somebody on the street. And it happened twice. We were given a warning, and then we went back to the policy that we have for dangerous animals and utilized that.
So until something happens, though, that we have nothing.
Right, and actually Chihuahuas have the highest bite rate of any breed. So we're not looking at pit bulls as being aggressive anymore. We're looking at smaller dogs.
Or any aggressive.
But they're not gonna kill you. Or your dog.
Chihuahua.
You know,
I know, I've seen
but a
some
pit bull and a
advertised as well.
Rottweiler will do that.
I mean, probably the worst attack I've seen was from a cat at this point. Out here at least.
And where's that cat?
I hope it's vicious.
Do you want us to look at that wording on the terms for the council? See if that can be reworked?
No, I'm fine with it. I was just confused by it myself.
Well, and I mean, if you were confused by it, so might someone else be, so maybe we can take a look at that and just say, I don't know, I'll talk to Marlon and see.
Okay.
And then there were a few things added to the model code, and Marlon wanted to know if you wanted to include those. One of them is about the outdoor furnaces. Do you want to include that in the code?
As far as,
It's chapter 19. if you-
Allowing, yeah, you have to scroll down and look at it.
what page is that on, Carla?
It's chapter 19.
We were looking at the page.
Oh, it's not, oh, I don't know. It's way at the end.
Just keep flicking, Larry.
Huh?
Just keep flicking, Larry.
Yeah.
About 200 pages in.
Trying to find it, but I never got to it. So.
What's that?
Chapter 6.
It's chapter 19. Larry.
Yeah. I was all the way to the bottom. It's in chapter 6. Chapter.
Oh, so how, they're
Title
not in
6,
order?
chapter 19.
What was that?
Title 6,
Title 6.
chapter 19.
It says page 257.
Here it is, page 260.
260.
There's gotta be an easier way, doesn't it?
We should be able to, on the table of contents, click on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have any in town?
We have one that I know of. Mike Brayman has one.
Have we gotten any complaints on it, or?
Um, And Mike called before they put it in, you know, find out if it was something that would be allowed, and at that point in time, I don't think he even had zoning adopted yet. He's probably had it a good 5 years.
Why wouldn't we want to allow it?
Yeah.
Why would you want to?
Why would you
Want
to not
disallow
allow
them.
it?
I don't have a reason for that. I mean,
Because the smoke order emissions, the first chapter says it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of newer homes that use them, although Pat Simon usually wanted to heat his garage and his house.
Yeah.
But typically you see it like in older homes.
Well, not always, because out on East Pleasant Grove out by Timberline, there's a Chad Demmer's house, he had one. That was a newer home. Did you get there yet?
No,
There.
You're gonna make it crash.
you'll find out.
All right. Oh, nope, you went too far. 260. See right up here, it says page number.
It's 256, 260. Yeah.
I was going by the upper one up there.
No, I don't. No.
What's
I
that?
don't see any need for it. Do you?
I don't know. What would you think if your neighbor put one in? Let it up?
Oh, Tony Kemp has one of these. Clean Camera said the smell would, when the air was heavy, it'd come into the house, into their house. But other than
They
that,
start throwing their trash in there and burning it.
no.
They can't do that, can they?
Actually, I think that
Papers and stuff, they could.
if you raise, if they raise the chimney, I think a little bit, that would solve that problem.
I mean,
But he's
there's
had
really no
one for
difference between
years,
this
and
and
that's
a fireplace,
Fire
is
pit,
it?
isn't it?
Or like a fireplace in your house?
the,
Well, you wouldn't have a fireplace running 24/7 though.
these outdoor furnaces.
Wood furnaces, they
burn
usually heat
wood.
their house with wood, so you're gonna have that running all the time.
So what was the question about? Oh, do we want to put it
Do we
in?
want this ordinance in
That
there?
ordinance in there that doesn't allow it.
I can argue both ways, I guess.
I hate to see that, but I have heard a complaint on it, I don't know.
You have to come and get the permit anyway, right?
Well, for existing,
It's just, oh, you're right, it's in existence.
Would you need a permit for an outdoor furnace?
It says you do. And they may not be operated between April 1st and October 15th of each year.
I would say leave it in there.
Pardon?
I would say leave it in there.
so you don't allow them,
Correct.
but the ones that are currently here will be allowed,
Yeah.
but they just couldn't replace them.
Yeah, I think.
I don't know, I think the people that have them, they'd almost be grandfathered in.
Well, they are. according
They
to
do.
this
But I mean, even if
ordinance.
they were going to replace them, because that's their furnace in their home, otherwise,
Well, it's really not their furnace in their home. I mean, it's what one they use, but normally they have a regular furnace too.
They have a backup.
Or electric heat or hot water heat, whatever the case may be.
Did we ask for this?
No, it's part of ECIA's model code, and the council can decide if they want to include that or not.
I think it makes sense to include it, grandfather the ones that have it, and then if they have to replace it, they have to modify the code.
We have to modify the code?
No, they have to bring it in, and if they have to replace it, they can't replace it, they have to bring the furnace in-house.
You're right.
Right.
I think they're pretty efficient though. I don't know.
I mean, what it says here, you can't burn anything other than wood.
Does it?
Untreated wood,
Yeah, it says that in there.
yeah.
All existing outdoor furnaces shall be inspected each year prior to operation.
Who's gonna inspect?
Who's gonna inspect it?
You know, we're starting to sound like a dictatorship. Maybe we ought to just leave one out for a change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't see too many people building a new house and putting one of these in, but, you know, you got a new house and somebody builds a new house next to you and puts one of them in, smoke's coming at your house all the time.
That's the part that I know I would not want.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
Yeah.
And then how do you tell that resident, well, we allow them, there's nothing we can do.
Well, then we pass the law.
But then they're already grandfathered in.
Whatever. What do we do about the permit process? Put it in with the building permit?
I think it's a separate permit.
It seems like it's a separate permit. See, they only amended it in 2017.
Some people use their fire pits an awful lot and throw anything in them.
Yeah, but that's only gonna be for a couple hours at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not gonna be hypothetically 24/7.
Well, the only time that Jerry and Mary Jo ever complained about that was when the air would be heavy, you know, and the smoke would stay low. And you could see where it happened, and you could see where it bothered them too, but
And there's a lot of people that have allergies that would really affect their abilities to breathe.
So what do you want to do with it?
My thoughts, leave it in there.
Kathy?
I guess.
Karen?
yeah.
Carla?
I think leave it in.
Yeah,
All right,
Leave it in.
we'll leave it in.
I know, that's
Okay,
it.
what about the next one then?
Oh gosh, you
The
found
physical
it.
environment.
The accessory buildings and structures, I have a few concerns about that one just because I'm not sure. I don't want it to conflict with our zoning ordinance and I just,
That's what I was thinking too.
I haven't had enough time to really look at that.
The next,
Yeah,
Chapter.
what's it pertaining to?
accessory
Accessory
buildings
buildings
and
and
structure.
Like a shred?
Actually, I haven't had time to look at
Shed,
the
yeah.
whole thing either.
Okay.
I would recommend pulling it out. I don't know why we would want
Yeah.
to have citizens trying to look at two different places.
That's
Those
what I
things
was
are
thinking
managed in the
too.
zoning ordinance exclusively.
Oh, is this what they've been talking about when the covenants run out and people start putting things up all over? Is that,
Pretty
Yeah.
much,
So
that's
we
what
addressed it in
this is.
zoning as well.
pardon?
It's addressed in the zoning ordinance.
But there's no need to double dip then.
I would rather not,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want them to conflict.
Right. I would say pull it out.
So the next step to this, to finish up the codification will be to, we have to hold a public hearing on it. So I'm gonna have Marla clean this up and then we'll bring it to the next meeting, set a public hearing date. And then hold a hearing at the following meeting, if that's okay.
Okay, are we ready to move on? Resolution 2019-11, resolution adopting the travel and training policy for the city of Peosta.
So we didn't really have a strong policy in place managing the travel. So there's a number of different things, you know, it outlines the fact that the point of this policy is to make sure employees neither profit nor lose from training opportunities. So, but you know, it gets down to even like what, you know, our travel time, is travel time kind of as hours worked, and so it outlines all of those things, you know, how you get authorization for travel. So it's no different. I mean, if anything, it establishes some more oversight probably than we have now. But it doesn't signify any change of operation. It just solidifies the way training will be authorized, the way receipts need to come in. You know, there's a form for that receipts and reimbursements need to come in at. So we don't really have a terrible amount of employee training, but it's, you know, it's frequent enough that it needs to be handled in a standard manner. But I can certainly, make any and all changes.
So there'll be, did we have forms before, or we're just gonna have forms now and make it more accountable?
We did have one. Yeah, the one we just switched to, I switched to one that's like an Excel sheet. Yeah, it was just a different. Yeah, it's not, there were no problems, there wasn't really, but there wasn't a policy to go with it. So we just put together a new policy, a new form, and a mileage form, so then they're all congruent.
Yeah, we should have something concrete that we can go by.
Yeah, it's just a common question, like, well, I have to leave at 5 o'clock for training, you know, does that count as time work? So it's just good to have a document to reference for stuff like that. Or, you know, my training's an hour and a half away, can I spend a night? Like, that's all addressed in here, so. And with Matt will definitely have to be taking advantage of some more trainings to get that grade 3, so. I anticipate we would use this a little bit more, not a terrible amount, but.
So can we get a motion?
I'll make a motion for resolution 2019-11, resolution adopting the travel and training policy for the city of Peosta.
I'll second.
Caroline?
Karen, aye.
Kathy, aye.
John, aye.
Okay, resolution 2019-12, a resolution adopting the lockout tagout program for the city of Peosta.
IMWCA is a frequent visitor in the office due to our poor work comp performance, so they tell us what to do and we do it. So this policy is a result of just the updating the safety manual. I know the safety committee was working on this one long before I arrived here, so we just finished it up. IMWCA, they've been here twice since I've been working here, so, and we also, there's a couple of other just forms, audit processes we implemented, so it's going well, and they're pleased with our progress, which is good because that will be reflected in our formula, our mod formula, so this is a, just another policy that we like to add to the manual.
So I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2019-12, approving the lockout tagout program.
I'll second.
Caroline?
Karen, aye.
Kathy, aye.
John, aye.
Okay, other business and correspondence proclamations. First one's for junior achievement. Whereas the city of Peosta recognizes junior achievement as the Heartland's purpose to inspire and prepare young people to succeed in a global economy. Whereas the city of Peosta will observe JA Day on April 4th, 2019 as an opportunity to recognize and celebrate junior achievement of the Heartland for empowering our young people to own their economic success. Whereas junior achievement of the Heartland educational contribution equips our young people to become the next generation of productive employees and self-sufficient citizens to ensure the economy, prosperity of Peosta. Whereas junior achievement of the Heartland includes opportunities of educators, parents, and community volunteers to correct classroom learning to life after graduation. Whereas it is fitting for Peosta to support the goals of junior achievement of the Heartland, and we acknowledge the continuing partnership of business, education, and community in achieving these said goals. Whereas it is fitting for parents, educators, businesses, and other members of the community to join the celebration in an effort to ensure the future success of the economic health of our young people and the communities in which they live. Now, therefore, I, Larry Mesher, Mayor of Peosta, do hereby proclaim official recognition of April 4th, 2019 as Junior Achievement Day in the city of Peosta. Okay, and then proclamation for Keep Iowa Beautiful. Whereas Iowa communities and countryside provide the basis for making this special and unique place to live, and whereas caring residents and citizens desire to build the pride and respect toward our community's natural lands and the environment, knowing that these are essential to the cultural and economic health and vitality of the state where we live, and whereas visitors to Iowa will respect and admire the communities and countryside that make us special, and whereas Iowa towns and cities and their leaders recognize the importance of maintaining clean and attractive areas, and whereas Keep Iowa Beautiful and a state affiliate of Keep America Beautiful works to build partnerships with government organizations, private companies, communities, countries, and volunteers service groups statewide to conduct litter prevention, recycling, beautification, community and landscape enhancement, increased volunteerism and waste minimization programs and projects. Whereas for more than 19 years, Keep Iowa Beautiful, its Board of Trustees and sponsors have combined leadership, creativity, insight, and expertise that continues to enhance the beauty and cleanliness of Iowa. Now, therefore, I, Larry Mesher, Mayor of Peosta, will encourage our city council, city staff, teachers, and all our citizens, young and old, to undertake personal and organizational efforts that will enhance the cleanliness, health, and beauty of our community and state. I do hereby proclaim April 2019 Keep Iowa Beautiful. And there you have it. Citizen comment?
I have a couple things before we go into
Okay.
closed session. First of all, that my poll idea for the wastewater meeting was a complete fail because there were 2 votes for each. 2, 2, and 2. Complete split for when to hold the meeting, so. I was really proud of that. I thought that would work great. No, fail. So, when, I mean, can anybody definitely not make it one of the times?
That was last week in April, right?
Yeah, so it's either, maybe we're looking at either before the meeting, after the meeting, the next day.
What time?
Well, either from 5 to 6 before the council meeting, for an hour after the council meeting, like as the last agenda item, it'd be a work session, or, it'll be a work session regardless, but
So the week of the 22nd?
yes. And it's not necessarily the end of the world if someone can't be there, it's just,
I would not be able to be there Monday, but everything else will work.
5 or afters, any day is probably good for me.
I'm good with whatever.
I'd rather have it before a meeting than after a meeting,
Yeah, I mean, I think I would too, I think.
if possible.
So the 23rd at 5 o'clock, is that?
What's the meeting
Do
on?
that, John.
There's not a meeting on the 23rd.
Oh, there's not a meeting on the 23rd. When is it?
April.
Yeah, there is.
There isn't? Is it on the 30th?
Oh, it is. It's the
23rd.
There's 5 Tuesdays. Woohoo,
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, so let's just do 5 to 6 on the 23rd. I mean, I know sometimes for Jerry, but I guess, I mean, if he's got to show up at 5:30 or whatever, that's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly.
There's plenty of technical information to go around.
It's the
For everyone.
60% one.
Do you think maybe we wouldn't finish up before the meeting?
Yeah, I mean, all
Yeah,
these
that's
guys-
the other thing. Is that gonna be enough time?
He's the one who suggested that, remember? Because he said then that would give him a.
That would give him a time limit then. He said it could last 45 minutes or it could last an hour, but he was giving himself an hour to explain the 60% of it.
Okay.
And that's why he said an hour. So you're right, to go before the meeting, that would give him the time limit. Because we start the meeting at 6, so you're correct, because if we went after, that would be,
Just keep moving.
yeah, I'm afraid he will just keep going, so. So that's April 23rd.
Okay, I will get him, and, we got the insurance health renewal quotes clear back when we were doing the budget. Adam was talking about coming to present those. The renewal for this year came back at like 6%, which is pretty amazing for what, the health insurance environment right now. Do you want him to quote other companies?
If it's necessary.
And I don't think we won't get anything back. Because too, we're gonna have to change, like we're with the grandmother part, changing companies could potentially. But I mean, it's totally up to you, obviously, it makes no difference.
I don't think we need to.
I don't think we need to. If you
Okay.
guys are comfortable with it.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, it just would be a waste of time because nothing's gonna come back even close to
Right.
that. And I just wanna make you aware, there is a bill, a Republican House bill right now that is seeking to reform city property tax code. It is not a good bill. I'm gonna be, at the Capitol next week and working with Representative Lundgren, and the Senate's not necessarily, they don't know if it's gonna get through the House, but I'll make that contact too, so. Essentially, it would just limit whatever your tax revenues are, the next year you get 2% increase, that's it, period. Or it would kind of just turn everything upside down on its head. So, I've talked with the league a couple times yesterday and today, but, we don't know totally what it means yet, but it would change the game. And then, Nicole is here to talk about coverage, public safety coverage now and here going forward with getting some additional part-time staff on to help cover special events and her pending leave, so you can go ahead and.
This kind of got brought up a little bit with the April 26th, 27th stuff that's coming up with the influx of kids that are coming in for the Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts. It doesn't mean that it would be an officer that would be just doing security for NICC because they're not going to be paying that. It's more of making sure that we have staff available for our community to stay safe while we've got 700 extra people here. You know, it's 500 to 600 of those being kids. So I think we're long overdue, actually, to have some part-timers on staff. We're the only outside agency right now in the county that doesn't have anybody on a roster for part-time. And part of that has been in the past, you know, talking with Jim, it's hard to keep part-timers because their full-time job is their priority, and then their family, and then their friends, and then a part-time job. So, you know, I've had a part-time job for the past 8 years over in Epworth because it helps my bills out. you know, and that's been a good relationship that I've kept going, but it doesn't pay super great, but hey, it's a little bit of extra. I know that if we made something attractive for part-timers to come here, we would have an abundance of people who are already interested in helping our community. And they're certified law enforcement already. The cost would be little to nothing. It would be an MMPI, which I'm already a proctor to give that test. It would be $150 per part-timer to be able to have that updated with our community. The people who I've spoken to already have authorization to go ahead and utilize all their gear they already have. So there wouldn't be cost for us to purchase extra weapons or anything else that would have to be issued items to them other than potentially a badge and maybe patches, which we already have. So the cost is very minimal to the city. If we put them on a roster, we got them prepped and everything, had the MMPI done, paid for that test, and then had their badge or patches that they needed, we could essentially utilize our grant money that we're getting right now to pay for those part-timers. So we could get reimbursed for those costs by the end of the year up to $4,100. If we utilize them outside of that GTSB money, that grant money, that would be an added cost to our budget. So if we schedule them, say, for April 26th, 27th, that wouldn't be coming out of the grant money. It would be added cost to our budget. So that would be the minimum cost if we utilize them later. Or if we had staffing shortages, that would be our, I don't want to say excuse, but that would be a good utilization of going over budget because we have staffing issues right now. As far as being able to utilize like county deputies or things like that, if we were to hire them instead of having just a part-timer on our roster, that's free for us to have them on our roster until we use them. If we try to contract with county, it's $35 an hour just for the deputy themselves on foot. And you have to pay extra fees for their patrol vehicles if they're out here. And we could call them and say, hey, can you just come out and kind of check on the town? Because we do have mutual aid, but that 28E agreement doesn't give us the authority to say, hey, we need you to come out here and spend 8 hours hanging out and patrolling and making sure that you're visible. It's more for emergency situations, if we need them to assist us. If they need our assistance, we have that 28E agreement. So if we wanted to contract them, that would be different. There will be one deputy, I believe on Friday night, that is contracted through Western Dubuque. So that deputy is literally in a security position. They're being paid $35 an hour to go stand here at the rec center and hang out for prom.
Just hanging out here.
That's Saturday night, isn't it?
Is it Saturday? Saturday. So that'll be for prom. But they're strictly there. So if there is an incident, they still have to call a deputy or an officer that's on duty to handle that situation. My concern is the safety of the community. To make sure that we've got that many kids, I want to make sure people are noticing that we do have law enforcement here, that they slow down. The kids are trying to cross the street to go to Dairy Queen, things like that. If they end up wandering off, if we have some issues within the neighborhoods, we need to have someone that's available to respond to that. I do foresee the potential to utilize part-timers in the future as well, not just for the time that I'll be taking off, but if we have staffing shortages, this would give us the opportunity to fulfill what the citizens need in this community, and that's to make sure that we're out there patrolling, we're being visible, we're in a Peosta Police Department vehicle, we're in a Peosta Police uniform. They know that we're here, and they know that we're here to take care of them.
What kind of hourly wage are you talking about for?
I would prefer to see something close to the $25 an hour range because we're not paying them insurance. We need to make it attractive to have them coming out here and spending their extra time off that they would have with their family to help our community. These would be certified officers already. They require no training. They require no extra cost. You know, these are, if we wanted to have them come in for a 4-hour shift, if we wanted them to come in for a 6-hour, you know, we dictate how much money we're going to be spending on a part-time position.
How many officers do you see on that roster?
I say 2.
How often would you see us use them?
In the near future, probably more than we want. In the long-term future, I've seen people on rosters that have been on a roster for an agency for over a year and have only done 1 shift. You know, you can leave them on there. They're available. They're part of our roster. But if you don't need them, you don't use them. So if we have, and with the grant money, it's been a little bit difficult for Eric right now because we have to fulfill that grant. There's a certain amount of hours and a certain amount of money that we need to utilize to continue getting that grant money. With Eric now solely responsible for all of that, he's putting in all of those part-time hours or overtime hours that I was supposed to be helping with. So that would have been great, having some part-timers available. And even in the past, I mean, injuries happen, things do happen. If we've got a part-timer available, come in and just fulfill at least a little bit of those hours. I've been doing the schedule for almost 6 years. I promise you, I wish I had part-timers a long time ago.
So, they get hurt on the job, or are we responsible for that? I mean, we have to cover them under work comp?
That would cover under our work comp. Let me look into that a little bit further. Because
I believe it would.
it's only based off of their hours. So if they only came in and did 8 hours in 6 months, their work comp would be based off of those hours. So I run into that same issue when I go to Epworth. If something happened to me on Epworth when I was working, I would only be covered under the 8 hours a week that I normally work.
Yeah, you pay on, so whatever their salary was, when they do the audit, and whatever if they made $1,000 last year, there's a rate. So it's $8, whatever, it's not that high, but it's lower per $1,000 that they earn. So.
But does that go against us?
If there's an injury, yes.
Yeah, I mean, if they were hurt working for us, then
Yeah.
we would take care of it.
It'd be less expensive.
But, it's just the cost of doing business.
I realize that. How does Eric feel about part-timers coming in and making more than he is?
They'd be making more than I make.
How do you
So
feel
Eric
about
doesn't
that?
I mean, what's he gonna say?
Well,
No, and I asked him the same question and we discussed that because.
They're not collecting insurance, it needs to be attractive. I will tell you, I am frustrated with the amount that that I'm making up for right now.
I understand that. I'm not trying to argue against you. I'm just wondering what Eric's thoughts were,
He feels the same way. We
Does
need
he?
the help.
Okay.
And he knows that it's gotta be attractive as well. And if you're trying to get people to come out and help, I want good officers out here because they're not getting the training that they would, they're already trained. I want the good ones that are gonna come out and I can show them around and give them our policies and procedures and say, go take care of business.
So are you talking deputies coming out or Dubuque Police or?
No, it'd be other officers from outside agencies. There's already been a handful of people who've shown a massive amount of interest. There's a retired deputy that's shown an interest as well, but that would take a little bit more as far as, it wouldn't be as cost effective to take someone who's already certified. That's out right now.
Yep. But you only want 2 on the roster, or you have?
That's up to the council. I mean, I think 2 would be a good starting point. If we needed to have more from there, I mean, I could come back and talk to you guys about it, but I think to juggle between 2 people that are pretty flexible and committed, I wouldn't want to overdo it.
Right.
And then have to worry about trying to make people happy.
Okay.
Who would go through the process of hiring these guys?
I would.
Ladies? You?
Not the chief.
I wouldn't be allowed to hire them. The chief would have to do that officially.
Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say now. I think it'd be a good idea.
I think we
I
could
agree.
think about that a little bit. I think we better not rush into this. And as far as the Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts go, their parents are gonna be with them all day Saturday. And Friday night, they pretty well keep control of them kids.
Who keeps control of the kids?
Well,
The Boy Scouts, the troop.
those two that
older
were
ones on
here
Friday.
seem to know exactly what they're running into. They know how to handle it. They know how many parents and volunteers and
I
whatever.
think they have it pretty well figured out, plus NICC probably has security.
Probably.
And if it's the same night as prom, we got our own security around somewhere. So it's not an absolute urgent thing.
Well, it's not like it's gonna cost us anything right off the bat, though. I mean, if they're just gonna be on a roster, if we need them, then they're there.
Well, we're getting into another area. Right now, we've got, if we need something, the sheriff's department comes.
That's in an emergency situation.
But if we
So-
start hiring more officers and putting them on a roster, then we've got less from the.
We're not gonna hire officers, though.
If with the 28E agreement, if there is an emergency, the county will come and take the call. However, the follow-up falls on the Peosta Police Department. So there still has to be, that's why, once we get to the point that we are in a, I may not be at the office for a period of time, all of this is falling on Eric. I would like to keep him longer and make sure that he's not overwhelmed with cases as well.
But we're sitting pretty good with our E28 agreement. And if we go away from that E28 agreement,
I'm not saying go away from it. I'm just trying to give you the parameters of
when
what
you start,
entails that 20.
when you start changing policies, they start getting,
What policies are we changing?
we deal with the county.
Sorry?
When we don't have anybody available, we deal with the county.
You call the county,
They'll continue with it.
and we'd still have that.
Yeah, they call dispatch, and dispatch figures out who's closest. Is it the city of Peosta that's on duty, or is it a county deputy that's available?
And we have an agreement with others for assistance. We have that now.
But they're not patrolling.
It's not changing.
But they're not patrolling here is the issue. So Nicole is gonna have a baby, she'll be out the majority of the summer. So that leaves Eric, who I'm assuming is gonna wanna take some time off in the summer. There's a couple of different ways you could look at this, but my immediate concern is this summer. So if he wants to take a week off to go fishing in Canada, with some other dynamics we have going on right now, we potentially could have not a soul.
How are the citizens gonna feel
For
about
7
it?
days, for
I have
10
a-
days.
Question.
We do that now.
No, we
I
don't.
mean,
I called the county on a Monday night, and I assumed Eric was, I don't know how to get a hold of Eric, it was not an emergency situation, but the county dealt with it. They didn't say you have an officer on duty, we'll contact him.
No,
They took care of it.
won't, because our schedule isn't public. When we're fully staffed, we try and have an officer on duty every day.
But you said if we call the county,
you call
they
911.
You can call
determine.
dispatch, you can call 911.
I did call dispatch, I had dispatch. But do they know when we have an officer on?
Yeah, that's
duty?
our dispatch. They get our schedule, just like City Hall gets our schedule and the mayor has.
But
our
they
schedule.
handled it. I mean, they didn't say, hey, you have an officer.
Because
on.
dispatch is all encompassing for the whole county. So dispatch takes care of all the outside agencies.
They do that for Farley, Epworth,
Yep.
Cascade.
And that's where our mutual aid comes into play, because that 28E agreement is a two-way street. So if there's a deputy that ends up doing a traffic stop on the highway and needs assistance, we will go assist them. Because
Right.
whoever's closest is going to respond to that. And it's not that we're going to take the case for them, just like the county is not going to take the case for us. They will take the initial report and say, yeah, okay, here. And then they'll say, here, Nicole, take this report and go follow up on it and go do all the stuff that needs to be done on it. That's how that 28E agreement works. It's not about them just coming in and regularly doing patrol. We have them out here a lot because we want them to be out here, the more the merrier. Heck, we just had one of the CN Railroad police officers pull someone over in our town. They have jurisdiction as well. So I'm not saying nothing will change with the 2080. Nothing will change with our policy and procedure. The only thing that will change will be giving the citizens added coverage when we're not working on our normal scheduled shifts. Does that make a little more sense, Karen?
I'm just opposed to messing with what we've got, because we're covered. We've always been covered.
We're not
No matter
gonna
what.
mess with anything we've got.
You
We're not
start-
covered the way we should be.
What are we gonna mess with? We're not gonna change anything.
Well, if you hire a couple of extras, they'll say, all of a sudden they'll say, well, they got people, get them. That's what they're
No,
gonna
no,
start
they won't do
saying.
that.
If they're on duty,
Sure. If
Yeah, if they're on
they're
duty,
here, but
absolutely.
if we got two officers on a roster, and somebody calls into county, the county's still gonna send an officer out here. They aren't gonna say, well, they got two officers on
Whatever.
the roster, they can call them.
Whatever.
Karen, Asbury has 5 full-time officers.
I'm not
They still
Asbury.
don't have
Don't tell me
someone on
Asbury. This is Peosta.
I know it is.
We're right in the center of everything. We assist Epworth, Farley all the time. We assist the county whenever we can, and they will assist us, and that should be good enough.
Because we're all on the same team and it's never gonna change.
So
The
why
issue
do we
is,
need more
What do
people?
our citizens deserve?
Our citizens, whenever we call for a police officer, we end up with the county anyway.
And how do you feel about that?
Well, I'm wondering why, actually, why I did on a Monday night.
How do you feel about having
It's
county
Sunday.
instead of your own
They
police
give good
officers?
service. I can't
I
complain
had an
about them.
incident the other day where my children were missing. They were gone. My husband called me frantic, running, screaming, our kids were gone, our 2 boys were gone. In the drive it took from my coworker to drive me to my house because I thought I was about to pass out, there were 2, both Nicole and Eric, beat me to that location. Now, thankfully, they were just being idiots and wandered clear around. I mean, they were by Cox Springs Road from my house. But in that instance, if we would have had to wait, and I mean, so Nicole was already debriefing me, we were talking about houses where she was gonna look, Eric was canvassing the Angela Jean Circle, so to have to wait for Dubuque to get there and that, I mean, I'm not sure my heart would have survived those minutes, but I understand, I totally understand your concern with making a giant policy shift, but even if the council maybe wants to look at this in a more narrow focus of Nicole's maternity leave, she is legally and practically entitled to a maternity leave. So we have to figure out, I mean, if a nurse is gonna go have a baby, somebody's gotta come in and do their job. So even if I can understand where you aren't comfortable making a jump as a general policy for how Peosta wants to do police, and that's completely fine. We can have those conversations and work that out and not go that route, but I know that, Shelley, we have to be able to have somebody that's going to be available. I feel like there could be some legitimate questions from the public, and I just don't know if doing nothing and 25 bucks an hour, 8 hours, when you're just talking about a couple $100, if that's not worth it. So if you're not comfortable making it that shift in long term, I can get that, but maybe let's just think about that in terms of getting us through summer.
I look at this as I mean, with everything we have going on, I look at it as a 6-8 month where there's a practical, hardcore need for this. You get beyond that, and then I think you have to take a look at, if the need is still there, then I think we take a look at if we need to restructure stuff. But I think everything that's going on, or will be going on, with Nicole taking leave, I mean, I don't want school kids.
I don't see where there'd be any restructuring though.
No, I'm just saying, I think there's a definite need for this for the next 6 months.
It's gonna be a list for people to help us. is what it's gonna be.
But you, the
Just-
council could choose to authorize those expenditures for 6 months.
Right.
Not further, Karen, like
Right.
that, or if that makes anybody feel better, you could say like,
Well, I want to know why it wasn't on the agenda to start then.
well, that's partially my own fault. Nicole and I talked about it. I emailed you all about it.
I didn't get an email about it.
I did, it was in one of my, because I have a couple, I have some response, I got a couple of responses from someone. I think it was a couple weeks ago. So, and then we discussed adding it to the agenda, but wanted to make sure we had a discussion. The concept was we could discuss it tonight, and then whatever the council decides, we'll put in a formal ordinance next week. Because yeah, I knew this might be a larger discussion, and that's completely fine. And I don't think, there's not right or wrong, I think we can discuss it, and so whatever you guys decide, or if you want time to decide, then Karen and I specifically discussed, this would give us an opportunity to draft a specific resolution for the next meeting for whatever you want, right? Part-timers, expenditures,
I
to
think-
include the next so amount of months.
I think what I would like to see is more specific, if we're gonna have two police officers, more specifics on what our startup cost would be on this.
Okay.
Uniforms, whatever the case may be, on a 6-month frame. With, I don't know if you can do this with the ability for us to then later come back and say, yes, this is working, or we need to change something, whether it be, I don't know, whatever that is.
Okay.
So would there be times when both of these part-timers would be on duty, or?
I don't foresee that unless we had a large event. I mean, we did, for Peosta Community Days, one of the years we did contract with another officer from another community, but that came out of the Peosta Community Days fund, and he was assigned specifically to Peosta Community Days. So we have had other officers that have come in and helped us. It really comes down to on maternity leave, being able to look at that schedule and see when the community needs some extra enforcement. Most of our evenings, like when I would normally be working, maybe on the weekends, like Friday night, Saturday night, somewhere around there, if that would be beneficial to have somebody come in and spend a few hours just on patrol, let the citizens know we're out there. It really depends on the citizen need. If we have some extra burglaries that are going on, I know I've adjusted my schedule in the past based off of intel, and when we start seeing an influx in, like, around Christmas time, and then when the weather starts to get nicer, we start seeing more of that. Around the holidays, there's some holidays coming up, that we look at some of those weekends when we have larger amounts of people that may be coming through.
A lot of it is a visibility thing too.
I have had complaints I've heard some first-hand complaints, and I've heard many second-hand complaints from citizens saying, why don't I see our police on patrol?
I think we've all heard those.
So those are my major concerns. I mean, we're here to provide for the community. I want to make sure that we have those response times, we're safe, we're keeping the community safe. And whatever you guys decide, I mean, that's obviously A-okay in my book. If you guys are able to maybe think about it and talk to some other people in the community and figure out what you think will be best. My main concern is what's going to be best for the citizens.
Anybody got any other questions about that?
John, real quick, and to answer your question, I think the 6-month time frame would be good. I think after that, if we wanted to keep them on our roster, maybe just utilize them with the grant money that we get, because we get reimbursed for that, would be beneficial for the city, because then it's just extra.
I agree. I just know right now, the next 6 months is our issue time frame.
Absolutely.
We just need to address that first.
Sure.
So you want more cost?
Just I guess if there's more firm costs and kind of how it work,
Probably about a $200 cost per
officer.
officer.
So we'll put it on the agenda for the 9th, and then we'll work to get you that information. And if there's any other information you need, shoot one of us an email, call, or anything else you want to know. Yeah, it certainly, it was my fault it wasn't on the agenda this meeting. There's certainly no intent for me to rush it. Nicole and I have just been making a point, scheduling meetings, trying to plan to make sure that we're prepared whenever she decides it's time to have a baby. So, yeah.
Oh, that's not my decision.
Well, no, I mean, we can absolutely and want to definitely get you guys any information you need, so we can.
And you know I'm available to via email or phone call if you guys have questions. Anything else?
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
I needed to know how to go about getting an ordinance for that underground boring and,
Yeah,
Hydro
so we had, I don't know if you recall, it was probably several months ago now that I sent an email with a bunch of different right-of-way permit examples. I'll resend it, but that, that's really the way to go. I mean, it's a right-of-way permit, because when they're, you know, one call serves a purpose, and we can't really manage and dictate off of one call, so we need a permitting process. It's still, the hump's just gonna be education, just getting the word out there, okay, we have a permit now you need to come file this permit. So, yeah, I mean, it's something a lot of bigger cities do, so there's models out there for how you wanna do it. It's just administering it's just gonna be a little bit bulky and different, because we don't necessarily, you know, always, we're not their first point of contact. I mean, generally, those people don't have anything to do with the city, so it's not going to be a natural step of their process. And the people that are here doing the work are like 7 steps below the people that we really need to talk to in terms of liability and all that stuff. So you can get there, it's just not, you know, these guys.
oh, we couldn't get there last summer when we got a hole in the sidewalk. We couldn't come up with
Yeah,
it.
it's like impossible. When you catch the guys doing it, and they're like, I don't know, I was contracted by somebody who was contracted, who was hired by somebody's nephew's dad to do this job, so.
Then we should make the initial general contractor. I mean, these guys, some of these people even have perpetual easement. I mean, that's, leaves you with nothing for recourse.
Yeah. That's-
And did we give Dean the go-ahead to find out where that water's coming from down there, or what went wrong?
I think he found it.
Did he? Man, he was in here the other day with the water when he was testing it, but I hadn't heard since then.
He tested it once and it didn't.
No, it doesn't have chlorine in it, it's
No.
groundwater. But it come out from, something caused it to come out on the wrong side of the drain and the wrong side of the sidewalk. And undermined Riley Demmer's sidewalk down there, and he said he was gonna see about getting it fixed, if he should or what
I'll
could.
follow with him, I didn't know.
It's still running like a faucet. Only Riley just put a hole under the cement and it's running into a drain instead of the street now, so it's out of sight and out of mind.
Okay.
You're talking about the one right down here on Burge Road, yeah.
Probably just shoved a stick underneath the sidewalk and ran it to the drain instead of the street.
Yeah.
It's still running like it's a faucet.
Yeah, I don't know. It's surface water coming from somewhere.
That's our underground borders. Somebody changed the path of the water.
That could very well be. Okay, anything else?
God, no.
Okay, then we need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Does this need to be read again?
Oh, do I have to read something?
Yep.
Yeah.
Way down
Where's
the
the part I'm
bottom.
reading?
Way down the bottom.
Where?
Down
Oh,
the
here?
bottom. Nope. Right there.
Oh, this. This part?
I think so, yeah.
Motion to go into closed session to discuss property purchase pursuant to Chapter 21.5 of the State Code of Iowa, which reads as follows: to discuss the purchase or sale of particular real estate only where premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price the government body would have to pay for that property or reduce the price the government body would receive for that property.
I'll second.
Carly?
Karen, I.
Kathy?
John.
Do we need to stop the recorder for that?
It's about us.
It's them.
You guys are sitting there.